I kind of feel like doing this video here is a little overdue, and I kind of want to talk about Mega Evolutions. A lot of people that I ask about, if they like Mega Evolutions or not, a lot of them say yes, that it's a fundamental change to the game, just to the way it's played. Some people say no, that they don't like it because of designs or just the distribution of the Megas, and I kind of fall somewhere in between. Like, normally, when every Pokemon generation comes around, I look forward to balance changes to the next series of games, just so some Pokemon that are a little less used can be a little more usable. But I basically just thought all of that because of how competitive I am at Pokemon. But the thing is Pokemon really wasn't seen as a competitive game by the actual Pokemon company. And just recently, like Gen 5 is when they actually added it to the roster of Pokemon events. For the longest, they've only really recognized the trading card game as being sanctioned worthy, while the video games really weren't. I guess it was because of things like rule sets and stuff. Though they did have smaller Pokemon tournaments before, but it was really never anything that it wasn't really anything that should have been considered like something that they were actually going to sponsor. But around Gen 5 is when they actually made this change to make Pokemon part of organized play, which in my opinion is a good move because I was always waiting for Pokemon to be part of the organized play. I don't really care for the doubles format because I prefer singles more. And if they were to make singles like a sponsored format, then we would also see some balances come out of that as well. But this video is not about that. Save that one for another time. This one is about Mega Evolutions and how I feel about them. Like I said before, when every new Pokemon generation comes out, I look forward to balances, changes, new additions, just a bunch of other stuff. And the one thing is seeing the Pokemon that I like just get a little bit stronger. And there was no surprise when the sixth generation came out and they were talking about stuff like this. And I was like, maybe the Pokemon I like will see some increases to their base stats. Since they're coming over to a new game, this would be the perfect time to do it. But it happened. Some of the Pokemon I liked got base stat changes. Some of them didn't. That's not anything to write home about. But Mega Evolutions happened, and I didn't know how I felt about it at the time. I got to see some Mega Evolutions like Charizard, Lucario, Mewtwo, and stuff like that. But the Pokemon that they were really giving Mega Evolutions to, I felt didn't really need it. And this here is because of my competitive side. I didn't really think about VGC because I don't ever, well, at the time I didn't play VGC because I just really wasn't good at doubles. But Pokemon like Charizard and stuff can actually use it. And they started to tell us more about Mega Evolutions and how it works. And I mean, Pokemon changing forms isn't anything that's new to the game. I believe Shaman was the first one to do it, and then all the other ones like Deoxys. It actually might have been Deoxys first, but then Shaman and Giratina. Just a bunch of Pokemon have been changing forms. Most of them always legendary, with the exception of Pokemon like Rotom. And I kind of feel that this created a balance issue with the game because a lot of Pokemon that got Megas didn't really need them. At the time I was like, why does Mewtwo need a Mega, let alone two? Why does Charizard need two Megas? Why does Lucario need a Mega? Just all these Pokemon that were already really good were the ones getting Megas. And I thought Mega Evolution was going to be a way to help the weaker Pokemon. Like, I was expecting Beedrill at least to get a Mega at the time because its base stats were so low. I was expecting Pidgeot to get a Mega because its base stats were low. I was expecting Pokemon like Zangoose. I was expecting Pokemon like maybe even Arcanine. Just Pokemon that could really use the boost to get it. We found out that these Pokemon would receive an additional 100 base stats to their total. So I was like, we can turn those Pokemon that's like that pretty much average out at around 450 and put them up to 550. It'll be really good in making those Pokemon competitive. But that isn't what happened. And that was basically my problem with Mega Evolutions, was the ones that got Megas didn't need them, and the ones that really needed them didn't get them. So we end up seeing the entire roster. I agreed with some of the Megas. Like, I was happy with Mawile getting one. I guess I was happy that Kangaskhan got one, but I didn't know about the parental bond ability and how much of a problem that would cause. Um, but another really big gripe that I had with Mega Evolutions was the distribution of the stats. A lot of Pokemon that got Mega Evolutions, and I'm even including the ones from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, just got massive additions to speed and an attack stat. Like, this brainless distribution for their stats. And I didn't really care about that. Like, I have people telling me that Mega Pidgeot was banned from um, a tier because of its ability to hit anything hard, and fast, and then you turn out, and that it was really hard to switch in on it. But then we have Megas like Beedrill that are just so fast you can't even deal with them effectively. Same thing with Mega Lopunny. It just comes in, fake outs, hits something for 33%, and then um, hit him with a return because nothing is going to outspeed it. Like, I feel the whole battle system in Pokemon should probably change to where it's focused on attack and speed, but that could be saved for another video, I guess, since this one here is just going to be about Mega Evolutions. But the one thing that I was really hoping was that Pokemon that needed the boost in stats got them. Like, Pidgeot got a Mega Evolution and gave it 100 additional points. Instead of doing the Mega Evolution, why not just increase Pidgeot's base stats by 100 and change it into a special attacker? Just give Pidgeot the base stats of Mega Pidgeot and go from there. Like, you're not really changing a Pokemon. You're not really changing the meta. Well, I mean, it changes the meta, but it's not doing something as drastic as a Mega Evolution. But it allows the Pokemon to keep the charm that the Pokemon once had and makes it more competitive. The reason I wanted to make this video was because with the addition of Mega Evolutions, every other Pokemon that has a form change automatically becomes broken. For example, Mega Rayquaza was banned from Ubers in Smogon's meta. Not that I really care about Smogon's meta, but I mean, you're always playing in it whether you want to or not. So, I mean, I kind of got good at the game just because of that. But Mega Rayquaza was banned from Ubers into a tier pretty much called Anything Goes, where there are no rules or restrictions for the most part. You just do whatever you want. But that got me thinking about Pokemon like Landorus T in VGC. These Pokemon that have form changes, and I'm going to consider Mega Rayquaza as a form change as well, because it doesn't hold a Mega Stone, is the fact that these Pokemon I would consider broken because they don't have to hold an item to change their form. Imagine for a sec that my Mega Pidgeot didn't require a Mega Stone to Mega Evolve. That means I can give it any item I want. I could give it Choice Specs, I could give it Choice Scarf, I could give it Life Orb, I can give it a Berry. I can do anything with it. I could even put leftovers on it just to help maintain its bulkiness. This here is the reason Mega Rayquaza was banned from Ubers, was because it could Mega Evolve without the need to hold an item, which means it could hold a Choice Band, it can hold anything it wants. And that's kind of the same problem that I'm now having with the old form changes of the Pokemon. Is the fact that they don't have to change, that they don't have to hold an item to change their forms, but they can hold an item while they're in their form change. Now, imagine for a second how less powerful Landorus T would actually be in VGC if it had to hold an item. This means it couldn't hold Choice Scarf, which means it loses a whole lot of its utility because of it. Same thing could be said for any other Pokemon that has a form change that doesn't rely on an item. I feel with Mega Evolutions around, that mechanic probably should have changed into something else, where that Pokemon has to hold an item in order to use his form change. Like same thing with Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. These are pretty much form changes, but they have to hold an item to use it. So, for example, with Shaman, why not make it have to hold the flower so it can form change at the start of battle when it comes in? Same thing with Landorus T. Why not make it hold an item to when it comes into battle, its form changes? I feel this here would be the correct way to handle that because of the way this mechanic works. It essentially gives most teams the ability to use 2 or more Mega Evolutions on their team. Now, I'm not sure about how well the base stats are distributed between the um, the form changes of Pokemon, but a lot of these Pokemon do effectively um, gain in areas and lose in some. Like for instance with Aegislash, Aegislash has to go into attack or defense mode to have the base stat changes. Deoxys simply just comes into battle with 150 attack, 150 speed, and 150 special attack, and 50 and everything else. But depending on which meteorite you go to, you can change those properties accordingly. So I would like to see these Pokemon rebalance so they can meet the needs of Mega Evolution purposes for the battle. You can, you have to pretty much use them as a Mega Evolution for your battle, and you can only use them. You could use like the form change Pokemon or Mega just to keep it balanced. About the other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about as well was just the Pokemon that really deserved some Megas but didn't get them. It's kind of hard. Like the problem with Mega Evolutions is a lot of Pokemon just aren't going to get love. They're not going to get the balances that they need. And while Mega Evolutions are cool and some of the designs are neat, like the premise behind it is cool. I like the premise. But the thing is with rebalancing the entire game, you can simply just change a Pokemon's base stats and make them better, just to make them more competitive. For example, if a Pokemon didn't get a Mega Evolution, it's probably not going to get one. It'll probably be unrealistic to even assume that every single Pokemon is going to get a Mega at some point. I simply just don't think it's going to happen. But what they could have done was say, well, Raichu needs more bulk. Well, they could just simply add 100 points to Raichu, distribute them where they see fit, and make it work. And the same thing could be said for any Pokemon. Just give it the additional 100 points and go from there. Like, Mega Evolution really doesn't have to be a thing. I mean, it is now, and there's nothing we can do to avoid that. But I feel that Mega Evolution just it kind of hurts what a lot of Pokemon can be, because it essentially turns the game into use the most powerful Mega Evolution and then build a team around it with other really powerful Pokemon. And as a player, I like seeing people use their favorites, and a lot of people simply just don't do that. It's hard to believe that teams that win in tournaments are always these favorite Pokemon when all 6 of them consist of the same, 5 to 6 Pokemon core. That doesn't work with me as a player, because I know for a fact these people don't like the Pokemon. They're just in the game to win, and I don't mind that. You play a game to win, but I want to see people do it with their favorites, and I feel balancing the game in this way would allow people to do that. They play more with their favorites, so like nothing really seems too hard or too whatever. If they win, then they do it. If they lose, then it's whatever. They had fun, they played with their favorites, and they did well. Of course, this just isn't the nature of competition. People are going to use the best thing that gives them the best chances at winning, and there's nothing wrong with that. but I want to see Mega Evolutions go in a way to where this actually happens. Some Megas are just way too good. Some Megas are extremely underpowered. Like Mega Bayonet, I think that thing's base attack is like 165, but it's completely frail and probably not going first. But its ability is Prankster. I honestly don't know what they were thinking behind that. I feel a Pokemon that has Prankster should probably be a little bulkier, but I mean it's whatever. I'm pretty sure whoever likes Bayonet, they're happy to use it. But I can't help but think that it could be better. But then we got Pokemon like Mega Metagross who are just completely stupid. It's got the HP, it's got the bulk in defense and special defense. It's got base 110 speed and a really monstrous attack. And it also has a really good typing as well. So I just don't understand the choices behind some of them. I mean, it was kind of unavoidable that Metagross is going to get a Mega. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all expected that. Just because of Steven, we expected all of the big bosses in the Pokemon universe to have their core Pokemon get a Mega. And I think the only reason Pidgeot got a Mega was because Blue used it, and probably at some point in the Pokemon movie, Ash is going to end up Mega evolving his Pidgeot if he ever gets it back. Just I don't mind the changes. I feel it works, but some of these Megas could be better. And I do personally feel that the Pokemon with form changes should probably have something to where they need to hold an item in battle in order to achieve that form change, so they can't use items. Otherwise, what's the point in restricting Mega Evolutions to Pokemon being able to hold items? Because, like I said, if I could let my Mega Pidgeot hold like a Choice Scarf or a Life Orb, I would even sell it for Life Orb. It'll make a huge difference because then I can run my best speed nature and then just have a monstrous attack behind an item for it. So I really feel that that's something that they should probably do. It probably won't ever happen, but that's just my suggestion on that part. I would also like to see some Mega Evolutions receive some buffs, and I'll probably make a video series about that because I'll probably just talk about that in the other video if I ever do make it. Because this video's already going on 18 minutes, and I don't want to spend another 10 talking about stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. And to summarize on the video, I feel Pokemon with form changes need to hold an item in battle in order to achieve said form change, so they can't use items, thus eliminating Pokemon like Thundurus or Landorus T from VGC from holding things like Choice Scarf. They have to use it at its base nature, which reduces its effectiveness in battle because it can't spam Rock Slide or U-turn. Second is to maybe don't focus so heavily on Mega Evolutions. Instead, just give Pokemon stat buffs that needed, i.e. Zangoose for one. Zangoose really does need a buff. And third, just really kind of focus more on the balancing of the Mega Evolutions because some are way too good and they should get debuffs, and some are not good at all and should get buffs. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I guess look forward to the next one where I'll probably be talking about trying to fix Pokemon that deserve them. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.